Hey guys, let's finish this up. So, Garage Orphans. Going back to them for a second. Just a couple shows you did that were really unusual. There's this thing in South Minneapolis. I don't know if the official name is Penn Fest or Penn Avenue Days. Probably Penn Avenue Days. But Ed knew. Okay, Ed used to go to this place called Sandy's, which is right on Penn Avenue. Penn Avenue. I would recommend it. Nice little joint, friendly staff, great freaking burgers. Award-winning burgers, I believe. But he used to go there all the time, and he used to go there almost every day, I think. And he somehow got us a gig playing Penn Avenue Days. So we set up in their parking lot, which is cool. And there was an orchestra, or like a big band or something, set up across the street at the bank parking lot. And there was some confusion because we didn't know when we were starting and when they were starting, and I think they started to play and then we started to play and then we drowned them out or something. I don't remember exactly what happened, but a representative from them came over to us and asked us, hey, could we just, maybe, like wait like an hour so they can do their little program and then we can play, which is fine. So we waited the hour, went and got some lunch, and then did our set or 2 sets or whatever we played. But that was fun because it was one of these open street type events. So, throughout the time we were playing, literally hundreds of people walking back and forth in the street, checking us out, which was very cool, which I thought was very cool. And we were planning on playing it the following year, but unfortunately it passed in March, sometime. So we were unable to, but it was very cool to do that one year because unless you're in a band, but there's a lot of those kind of things. You usually don't get to play street fairs and stuff like that, so that was fun. The other interesting thing we did, was we played. Okay, so Ed was a roofer. He had a roofing business, and there's this guy called John Deering who worked at the roofer materials supply store. Probably still does. And they were friends. And John is somewhat of an amateur musician. So we actually did some shows at the terminal where we would play a set. He would come up and do his thing for like half hour or so. We'd do our second set. But we actually played a party at his house one time, which was kind of fun. Outside in his backyard, and he didn't live like way out. He lived like right in the heart of Minneapolis. Not sure where. Anyway, up windy roads, concentration of houses. But we just played for his party one night. It was awesome. So yeah, so that was Garage Orphans, which I really like that band. Playing in that band was a lot of fun. We had, the only, problem, if you could call it a problem, was our buddy Dave, who was in and out of the band. He was in and out three times. And again, Dave, great guy, awesome guitar player. Maybe not the most reliable person, but maybe that's just who he is. I don't know. But other than that, it was great. We always talked about, because when Ed had Garage Orphans the first time, a few years before we resurrected it. That's the word I'm looking for. They used to play down in like Faribault and Mankato and all that. So we always talked about, like more than likely, if he would have not passed that summer of 2016, we would have been playing probably down at Faribault and Mankato and doing all those places. He just wanted to get in the van and go and, like, you know, play the shows and hang out and chase women. And he was like that. He was good like that. Though he did have a steady girl towards the end named Sally, who was very, very nice. And Sally knows him, so this shouldn't come as too much of a surprise or shock. But my favorite picture of Ed, and I will put this up at some point, is a shot of us. We're at the terminal, and you know, we're all just kind of on stage playing, and Boy Eddie is standing, head turned, checking out some chick that's going to the bathroom. My favorite picture, because that was Ed. That was who he was. But anyway, enough about that. So SMUJ'D was left. Okay, and I don't know, again, I don't need the exact timeline of when all this was going on, but we were a trio and doing some shows, which worked, but Pico wasn't really happy because he wanted to get away from singing, and actually be able to play bass the way he wanted to and the way he probably should have been. So we started looking for a singer. We also started looking for a second guitar player again, which honestly I don't know why, because really none of the second guitar players we had ever really clicked, with the exception of Ike, and that was just he was just a weird dude. So I don't know why we were looking for a second guitar player, but we were. Eventually we found a singer by the name of Brian Hershey, and he came in and, you know, he did a great job and got the gig. We also got this other guitar player named Bob, who, interesting character, good guitar player, you know, good guy, solid guy. In the end, didn't really click. We had slightly different ideas of where the band was going and what we were going to do and blah, blah, blah. So I think Bob left, and we were planning on doing, okay, so after Garage Orphans disbanded, and obviously after I quit Outlaw Saint, there was word that our old guitar player, Doug, had joined another band, and they were looking for a bass player and a drummer. So he was, you know, kept friendly with all of us, so he talked to Pico about it, and Pico kind of looked at the list and go, I don't want to learn that stuff. But I was intrigued, because I, you know, any chance I get to play, I'll play. And not that I was completely unsatisfied in SMUJ'D, it just wasn't, I don't know, just didn't feel right. Something about it didn't feel right. So, I contacted Doug, or Doug contacted me, one of the two, and I was like, you know, what's this band about, and, you know, maybe, you know, I can come in and play with you guys. And this was in probably August or September of 2016. So sent me over a song list and said, yeah, absolutely. And it was a lot of, I think in one of the other videos I described the bar standards. It was some of those, but then like weird, obscure kind of 80s stuff and like some pop stuff. So I was like, okay, you know, it's kind of cool. I can do this. So I set up an audition with them, communicating with the singer Pam, and she, day of the audition, she picked me up downtown from work, and within 10 to 15 minutes of meeting her and being in her car, I felt like we were almost connected. It was that quick of a thing. So went down, auditioned with them. First song I played was, I believe, Back in the Chain Gang by the Pretenders. Song we still do. And got the gig. And then a little bit, so I had to go back and tell the guys in SMUJ'D, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, I, you know, tried out for Doug's band, this band Off to the Astronauts, and got it, and so I'm in 2 bands again. They're like, oh yeah, whatever. And then, so ODA was looking for a bass player. We hired one guy, did 1 show with him down in Northfield. It did not work out. We'll just put it to you that way. It did not work out. Won't go into too many details. So we're on the look, and honestly, and Dave, if you're watching this, I apologize. I don't remember if you saw an ad that we put up or if I asked you. I don't remember. But we tried out a couple more guys, and then eventually the bassist I knew as D-Man, now known as Dave, or I guess always known as Dave. Anyway, came down and auditioned and completely nailed it. So then we had Dave on bass. So I'm in a band with the old bass player from Outlaw Saint and Garage Orphans and the old guitar player from SMUJ'D. Which is how it's all interconnected is very, very interesting and cool. So did that. So then, okay, so there's those two, Pam the singer, and then guitar player Rob, who's a very cool guy. I mean, just very mellow and very easygoing, but also very directional and very focused at the same time. Kind of weird. It's kind of a weird dude. Good guy though. So then, so I'm in this band, and then so in our newly formed SMUJ'D, we had now changed our name to Drop the Axe. Somehow decided we're going to do the show, and not Garage Orphans, Off Duty Astronauts and Drop the Axe are going to play at the Turf Club, or at the terminal. So this is, so this is where it gets interesting. So, not really. So about a week or so before the show, our singer Brian, who we knew had some DUI charges and had some court things coming up and whatever, about a week and a half before the show, we get a text from Brian's girlfriend saying, oh, Brian's in jail for these charges and whatnot. And my plan was, okay, my plan before, leading up to this terminal show, because I was to the point where it just wasn't working for me. I wasn't feeling it. But my plan was to play the terminal show. Right after that, Pico was taking a vacation for a couple weeks. And during that vacation, I was planning on writing an email to the guys, explaining everything, explaining my decisions, explaining everything, and, you know, bowing out like that. getting that text saying that Brian's in jail and, you know, who knows when he'll be out, blah, blah, blah. So I was at work, first got that text, saw it, had to go do something, had to run mail. Came back. By the time I got back, I had about 10 messages from Jerry and Pico saying, you know, what do we do? Do we cancel the show? Do we go on? Do we get Cam back to sing at the show? And at that point, I had to step in, and instead of doing my, you know, nicely worded, really very elegant and explaining email, said to them, well, I don't know what you guys want to do, but I'm done. I'm out. And, you know, I think it was Pico who wrote back, did you just quit? And I'm like, you know, sorry, but yeah, you know, not feeling it, gotta do what you gotta do. And so at that point, we were basically done, and they were like, okay, and this was, you know, end of February, because the show was beginning of March. I think it was beginning of March. Anyway, there was like a week until the 1st, and they're like, okay, you know, just come and get your stuff in the rehearsal space by the 1st, and, you know, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. So that was my exit of SMUJ'D. And then of course, Brian texts the next day saying, I'm out, you know, what are we doing? And it was like, well, band's done. But not really, because apparently the 3 of them are still together. They have a new drummer. They're under the name Conditional Chaos. And I'm just waiting for them to do a show. I mean, as soon as one is announced and I can get to it, and I, you know, can attend it and whatnot, I will be there, front and center, cheering them on, encouraging them. You know, because again, I don't believe in the whole, you know, bad blood thing. Even a guy like Des, remember our good friend Des, who replaced me in Planet Rock without even the courtesy of a phone call. Had to discover it on the MySpace page, throwing on the pictures and saying, oh, new picture, oh, that's not me. I would play with him again, honestly. Because, you know, at the time, I'm sure he felt he had to do what he had to do. And, you know, if you can get a band that's together, same members for more than, God, even 5 years, is a miracle. So, you know, members come and go, and you just have to, as I said before, as long as it's not anything major, they didn't, you know, attack you with a knife or sleep with your wife or anything, you know, murder your children. Sorry, that got really weird and dark. You know, just forgive and forget and just get over it. So now, so we had to replace, obviously, SMUJ'D had broken up, or Drop the Axe had broken up, so we had to replace him in the show. But we're up to present day, where in 2017, Off-Duty Astronauts played, I believe, 13 shows, which is pretty hardy number. So in a year of existence, we played more shows than SMUJ'D did in the 3 years I was in SMUJ'D. So, but of course we're playing much more audience-friendly music. But, point being, but yeah, our goal is to do more this year. I don't know if we're going to achieve that, but I'll try. But we've played, we played at Whiskey Junction twice before they closed. We played at the Viking once before they closed. We played both the Eagles in Minneapolis and the one in Bloomington. We've played at Main Street in Hopkins. Great place. We played at a couple different breweries, Bald Man in Eagan and Lake Monster in Minneapolis. I think that's in Minneapolis or in St. Paul. We've done you know, we've done some recording, we've done a couple of private events. So yeah, I mean, this is probably, as far as personality-wise, I was thinking about this, and this is the first band I've been in where I don't really have to worry about anyone. The other bands I was in, you always had that one member that you were like, leery of. This one, I don't think I have to worry about anyone, and everybody's really cool and really experienced and knows what they're doing. So, you know, it's just cool. It's so awesome to be in a band that knows what they want to do and does it. So yeah, we'll see you out there. I'll do a post, hopefully, maybe I'll do it tonight. With the shows we have booked so far, we have four booked this year so far, yeah. So I'll put those out. I've already sent the invites out, but yeah, so come down, check us out. We're good. We'll get you moving. So yeah, that brings us up to present day. And there you go. Hopefully you found this somewhat informative, maybe entertaining. So yeah. Wow, that took a lot longer to wrap up than I thought it would. Anyway, but as always, got the shirt. Bloodwar. Good thrashy death metal band from St. Paul. And maybe in the next video I'll start on my rediscovering of the local scene and how I got more involved in that, because not that that's an interesting story, but there's a lot of bands out there that you guys should be checking out. And it doesn't matter. I mean, if you like, you know, there are punk bands and metal bands and pop bands and R&B bands and jazz bands and you know, everything under the sun. So whatever kind of music you like, there are probably some really good local bands for you guys to go check out. Maybe we'll start that next week. But for now, we'll call it a night and do that. So I guess we'll talk to you later, and have a good night and a safe weekend and all that fun stuff. So prepare for the snow on Monday. Fun. All right, talk to you later.